Well, hey, good afternoon, gardening friends. Thought I'd take you along and give you a little update of the garden here. I just got done weed eating. My dad's got this nice Milwaukee string trimmer, which is quite effective for knocking weeds down. So I'm on a campaign to destroy the thistle. This is all kinds of thistle in here, so I mowed it all down for the most part. And periodically, about once every 2 weeks, I've got to do that to keep it down, or whenever I have time. But so far things are going okay. Our onions, they're not doing as well this year. I got them from Dixondale Farms, but they were in the box about a month longer than it should have been because of how the weather was and just a bunch of stuff that happened this spring. And so consequently, the onions are struggling. I am really not anticipating much of a harvest this year on those, but the ones that survived, we'll leave them in the ground and see what happens. My potatoes, they're finally sprouting. We most of them, I guess all of them this year are red Pontiacs, which tend to do really well. But again, they're a little behind. Let's see here. So we've got these 3 rows planted. The green beans, they're doing well. They're, for the most part, at least the rows we planted initially, all sprouted pretty well. There's a few little weeds in there that I need to pull out. If not, they'll start competing against the green beans and they won't be as productive. I replanted this, but I thought we had planted it, but apparently not. I mean, there were absolutely no sprouts, which told me that we didn't plant it. So we must have accidentally missed it. So earlier this week, I replanted this bed. And all we need is some good rain, which I think we're gonna get on Friday. And by the weekend, I should start, hopefully seeing some sprouts. We got our peppers, and they're hanging in there. Pretty good color. And as they get established, they'll start to take off. But other than weeding, the main thing I came out here to do tonight is prune the tomatoes. And it's important to do some pruning. With us being in an outdoor environment, we do want to keep a fair amount of foliage on there just to protect the fruit from sun scald. But as a general rule of thumb, as they're growing, you want to go through and just lop off the bottom branches closest to the ground and eventually get to the point where you eliminate all the branches that are below the first fruiting branch. And that ensures really good airflow and really cuts down on soil-borne diseases, like when it rains and stuff, or leaves touching the ground, and then you've got bacteria that gets on there or whatever. So you can tell the difference. I just got done. It took me about 45 minutes or so, but I got this whole row done. There's about 20 plants. And, you know, doing all the little pruning and then rewrapping them with the string so everything is good. These are mooring hitch knots, so you can literally pull this open and then redo the string to help guide these. And there's enough play in here. I mean, really, this is here just to give it a little bit of a guide and some support. But as the wind and stuff hits this, with there being, you know, play, these stems are going to toughen up. The vine is going to toughen up, and it's going to eventually grow into the trellis structure here and support itself as it starts to climb, right? But they need a little help, you know, to start. And so for, as you can see, the first couple feet up, you know, I'll wrap it until it's grown in here. Now, the other thing I've learned over the years with the sun tracking behind me, you know, southwest here, it's better to plant the tomatoes on the north side of the trellis because the plants are going to want to grow towards the sun. Whereas if I planted them on the other side, they're not going to be, I'm going to be fighting nature because they're going to want to grow away from the trellis towards the sun instead of into the trellis towards the sun. So I'm trying to work with creation here. But got all these pruning. You can see the difference, you know, between this row where everything's nice and clean and tidy and this row where no pruning has really been done yet. And we got branches that are starting to touch the ground, you know, drooping and stuff. Basically, I need to remove all those bottom branches. Also need to go in and snap out these suckers, these initial suckers. You know, with the suckers, they'll grow into branches, and maybe even some fruiting branches will pop off of them. But it's okay to leave some suckers in there. In fact, once the plants get to a certain height, I'm not really going to be pruning a whole lot anymore. I'm just going to let them grow. But I'm going to continue to keep the bottom clean. And again, that's because we're in an outdoor setting. Sun's beating down on these all day. They need the foliage to protect the fruit. But if we were in like a hoop house or something, I would prune them all the way up. I guess hard prune them all the way up to a single vine and stuff, because you can do that without hurting the fruit. But these suckers that grow, you can tell they're suckers because they grow in like the armpit. Like imagine my thumb is the main stem and the branch is my index finger and my pointer finger. The suckers are growing between that at an angle, and you can just go right in and snap them. They snap right out. Now when they get to a certain size, it's a little harder to snap out. But we still have this trellis to do, and then we'll be done for today. And continue to tend things, you know, water. And hopefully a month from now, these tomatoes will be probably twice this size. You know, the peppers are going to be taller. Stuff's going to be fruiting. The green beans, Lord willing, will have filled out, you know, the row or the rows, and we'll be well on our way. I did plant some cucumbers and squash and some cantaloupe over in this other section. I did them on the south side because they get a little more shade from these big blue spruces that are here. And I need to get in here and weed this too. You can see the thistle growing up in there. I've not put any structures around these crops yet, and they vine. They'll just branch out, and this whole area will be covered until the squash vine borers or cabbage or cucumber beetles get in there, and then it may be a little bit of a struggle. But I planted this stuff in last week, and for the most part, it's still alive. It's still doing well. So we'll see what we get from that. Fortunately, they grow fast enough that even with the pest pressure, typically I'll get something before the pests take them out. So anyway, that's what we got going on. Also have some rhubarb. I've already harvested some stalks. This is Ukrainian rhubarb. So it doesn't really turn pink, it stays green. But you can tell it's ready to harvest when the leaves are fully unfurled. Right now it's gone to seed. It goes to seed every year and reseeds itself. But this patch has been going on for about 8 years now. I think about maybe close to 10. So anyway, that's what's going on. We'll try to make updates along the way, and we'll go from there. So I guess that's it for now. Until next time, happy gardening. Bye.